What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some more Destiny 2 news, and it's Thursday, so this comes in the form of This Week at Bungie. It's not an absolutely massive update today, by any means, but we do get some information about the next set of hotfix changes that we're going to see. Bungie will be fixing the piercing sidearms mod, as well as a couple of other things. They touch on some known issues, and the return of trials this weekend. Plus there's some information about the latest Bungie lawsuit regarding the recent set of content takedowns that we saw a few weeks back. So we're going to talk about it in the video, guys. As always, if you enjoy this one, a rating below really does help us out. And otherwise, let's get into it. And going straight into the info in the TWAB, Bungie say, firstly, let's dive right in with another weekend of Trials of Osiris. And the first freelance Trials of Osiris weekend for Season of the Haunted is on the way, which means more opportunities to check out the ultra-competitive PvP mode for any that are curious about what it has to offer. Whether you're playing for engrams or playing for that coveted lighthouse spot, you'll have another shot at both later this week. And they go on to say, we've taken in a lot of feedback about the Trials experience, and because of that, we've learned some important lessons about the player base most involved with the competitive experience. We want you to enjoy your time in Saint 14's arena of PvP goodness, and we'll keep taking in that feedback, but for now, enjoy freelance and make Saint smile. I believe also the Flawless pool will be active, unlike it has been in some other weeks this season, so let us know down below if you plan to dive into Trials this weekend. And up next, Bungie talk about the next hotfix for the game, and this will be on June 28th. That's next Tuesday in hotfix 1104. And at 9:15 AM PDT, which is 16:15 UTC, D1 and 2 will be brought offline. And so 45 minutes later at 10 AM, the normal reset time, servers should come back online and we'll get that hotfix in the game. And Bungie say regarding what is targeted to be fixed for this update cycle, initially they're fixing an issue where players could shoot through barricades, Ward of Dawn, and thin walls when piercing sidearm artifact mods were equipped, alongside armor piercing rounds. So that's the reason we haven't been able to use the piercing sidearms artifact mod, and so it should be re-enabled on Tuesday. We can see they're also fixing an issue where the Crucible Vermilion shader effects caused unintended photosensitivity issues, as well as investigating special effects in Nightmare containment activities that caused unintended photosensitivity concerns. And then they fixed an issue where Wings of Sacred Dawn did not offer the proposed airborne effectiveness buff. So some exotic buffs for airborne effectiveness, essentially, and it's going to be the same for Peregrine Greaves and the Peacekeepers, so bit of an update to those exotic pieces. Then finally, they're fixing an issue where the Master Vault of Glass raid did not have all challenges active when available through the new raid and dungeon rotator. And so the next time that's around, all of those challenges should be active and completable. I'll keep you posted next week if we get any additional changes in that update. It will be kind of a mixed bag. And they go on to say there are additional known issues that currently don't have a specific time on the calendar to be fixed, but the pattern for crafting Neverex Whisper cannot be untracked. Plus there's a problem where defeating targets while radiant with the knock 'em down is not refunding melee energy when used with Caliban's Hand. And then the Callus Mini-Tool and Drang Baroque don't update to Gold Masterwork borders after upgrading to 2 enhanced traits. Then finally, the Empty Grief Seasonal Challenge will not be completed if a player picks up the scythe that spawns in the final encounter, or use of weapon traits that cause explosions such as Dragonfly, and so players should complete the encounter with their equipped weapons to complete the challenge, basically very carefully killing enemies with the appropriate element weapons. The final bit in the TWAB before we touch on some of the takedown things, but Bungie say they're providing some additional resources for those Guardians out there that may be taking the Season of the Haunted storyline to heart. They say they're humbled that you trust us with such sensitive memories. And if you feel like everything is a little too much, or that you'd like to add some tools to the mental health toolkit, please don't hesitate to reach out to the resources available for help. From anxiety to imposter syndrome, depression to dealing with loss, there are resources for everything. And so if that's something you guys want to check out, definitely follow the link to the TWAB down below, and you just might find some resources that are really helpful. And that does it for the TWAB section. Once again, not an absolutely massive update, but feel free to share your thoughts below. Final thing for today, and more legal news associated with Bungie, but you may remember a few months back, various content creators in the community were hit with takedown notices on pieces of content associated with Destiny, including some of the very big channels, but also smaller channels. And it turns out that Bungie have identified specifically who was responsible for that. And according to an article from Paul Tassi at Forbes right here, it's another community member known by the name Lord Nazo, who'd previously uploaded Bungie content to their YouTube channel. And because they were essentially just uploading soundtrack stuff, it was actually legitimately taken down by Bungie. And so they decided to start hitting multiple different channels with these takedown notices, essentially as an act of kind of revenge. It's also worth noting though, that because YouTube's system for claiming content essentially isn't great, this person was able to imitate Bungie and put in claims for various different videos, which YouTube then took down without actually having any authenticity around who was sending the claims in. So either way, this individual was able to disrupt a lot of different Bungie content, including on Bungie's YouTube channel, and then various content creators, which is pretty wild. And according to the articles, Bungie are suing for $7.6 million in damages, and that cites both attorney fees and damage to Bungie's reputation, because of course there was an element where content creators assumed Bungie were actually taking their content down when it wasn't the case. Absolutely wild stuff. Also, according to the article right here, the user who was actually responsible for it turns out was also registered on various different cheat sites from the manufacturers that Bungie have also recently taken to court, and they could tell this because of email addresses and account details. And so that individual definitely is going to have a pretty bad time with this. Even more legal stuff going on with Bungie right there, and I'd be curious to get any of your thoughts down below. But for today, guys, that is what we have to speak about in the video. So as always, I hope you have enjoyed this one. And if you have, a rating down below really does help us out on the channel. Plus, if you want to be kept up to date with more Destiny content, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. Otherwise though, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you guys very soon.